Hello. So today I'm going to be talking about two different theories. One is going to be Erikson's psychosocial development, and the other is going to be social-emotional development. So first, Erikson believed that personality develops in a predetermined order through 8 stages of psychosocial development, from infancy to adulthood. During each of these stages, the person experiences a psychosocial crisis which can have a positive or a negative outcome for personality development. According to his theory, Erikson stated that successful completion of each stage results in a healthy personality and the acquisition of basic virtues. Basic virtues are characteristic strengths which the ego can use to resolve subsequent crises. Failure to successfully complete a stage can result in a reduced ability to complete further stages and therefore a more unhealthy personality and sense of self. Here are the 8 stages. The first stage is trust versus mistrust. This stage begins at birth and continues through the first year of the child's life. During this stage, the infant is uncertain about the world in which they live and looks towards their primary caregiver for stability and consistency of care. Success in this stage will lead to the virtue of hope. By developing a sense of trust, the infant can have hope that as new crises arise, there is a real possibility that other people will be there as a source of support. Failing to acquire the virtue of hope often leads to the development of fear. Second stage is autonomy versus shame and doubt. This stage occurs in the first 2 years of the child's life. Children at this stage are focused on developing a sense of personal control over physical skills and a sense of independence. Success in this stage will lead to the virtue of will. If children in this stage are encouraged and supported in their increased independence, they become more confident and secure in their own abilities, as well as their ability to survive in the world. If children are criticized or overly controlled, or not given the opportunity to assert themselves, they begin to feel inadequate in their ability to survive, and may then become overly dependent upon others, lack self-esteem, and feel a sense of shame or doubt in their abilities. Third stage is initiative versus guilt. And during this stage, children assert themselves more frequently. This is generally ages 3 to 5. Primary feature involves the children regularly interacting with other children at school. Central to this stage is play, as it provides children the opportunity to explore their interpersonal skills through initiating activities with each other. Conversely, if the tendency is squelched, either through criticism or control, children develop a sense of guilt. The child will often overstep the mark in his forcefulness, and the danger is that the parents will tend to punish the child and restrict his initiatives too much. A healthy balance between initiative and guilt is important, and success in this stage will lead to the virtue of purpose, while failure results in the sense of guilt. The fourth stage of the psychosocial development is industry versus inferiority, and in this occurs between the ages of 6 and 12. Children at this stage, where they will be learning to read and write, to do sums, to do things on their own. And here we see teachers begin to take an important role in the child's life as they teach the child specific skills. Some failure may be necessary so that the child can develop some modesty. And again, a balance between competence and modesty is necessary. Success in this stage will lead to the virtue of competence, whereas failure can be inferiority. The fifth stage is identity versus role confusion, and this stage occurs during adolescence, from the ages of 12 to 18. During this stage, adolescents search for a sense of self and personal identity through an intense exploration of personal values, beliefs, and their own goals. This is a major stage of adult development where the child has to learn the roles he will occupy as an adult. It is during this stage that the adolescent will re-examine his identity and try to find out exactly who he or she is. Erikson suggests that two different identities are involved: sexual identity and occupational identity. He also claims that the adolescent may feel uncomfortable about their body for a while until they can adapt and grow into the changes. Success in this stage will lead to the virtue of fidelity, and in response to the role confusion or identity crisis, an adolescent may begin to experiment with difficult lifestyles, and different lifestyles as well. And often you see as the negative outcome of this is rebellion. The sixth stage is intimacy versus isolation. This stage takes place during young adulthood between the ages of 18 to 40. During this stage, a major conflict centers on forming intimate, loving relationships with other people, and we also begin to share ourselves more intimately with others. We explore relationships leading toward long-term commitments with someone other than a family member. And then avoiding intimacy, fearing commitment and relationships can lead to isolation, loneliness, and sometimes depression. Success in this stage will lead to the virtue of love, whereas I just said isolation is the negative outcome. The seventh stage, generativity and stagnation, takes place during middle adulthood. It's ages 40 to about 65. This stage is when we give back to society through raising children, being productive at work, or becoming involved in community activities and organizations. Through this stage, we develop a sense of being a part of a bigger picture. By failing to find a way to contribute, we become stagnant and feel unproductive. These individuals may feel disconnected or uninvolved with their community and with society as a whole. So the success of this stage leads to us caring about other people and caring about what we leave behind. And the negative outcome is where we begin to regret and feel unproductive with society. The last stage is integrity versus despair. This stage begins approximately around 65 and goes until you die. It is during this time that we contemplate our accomplishments, and we can develop integrity if we see ourselves as leading a successful life. Individuals who reflect on their life and regret not achieving their goals will experience feelings of bitterness and despair. Success in this stage will lead to a virtue of wisdom. Wisdom enables a person to look back on their life with a sense of closure and completeness, and also accept death without fear. Whereas the failure in this leads to dissatisfaction with your life and regretting decisions you have made along the way. So the next theory to talk about is social emotional development. Social emotional development includes the child's experiences, expression, and management of emotions, and the ability to establish positive and rewarding relationships with others. This includes both inter- and intrapersonal interactions. So in this theory, there are 9 key principles to talk about, and they are listed here. So the first one is responsive caregiving. Responsive caregiving supports infants in beginning to regulate their emotions and to develop a sense of predictability, safety, and responsiveness in their social environments. Early relationships are so important to developing infants that research experts have broadly concluded that in the early years, nurturing, stable, and consistent relationships are key to healthy growth, development, and learning. The second is emotional security. Emotional security is the child's sense of self that they develop with the interactions they have with adults in their lives. Third is the temperament. Temperament is the child's expression of emotion and is a valuable tool in gaining assistance or the social support of others. Emotion regulation is number 4, and this reflects in the interrelationship of emotions, cognitions, and behaviors. It is influenced by culture and the historical era in which we live in. 5 is impulse control. Children's developing capacity to control impulses helps them adapt to social situations and follow rules. As infants grow, they become increasingly able to exercise voluntary control over behavior, such as waiting for needs to be met, inhibiting potential hurtful behavior, and acting according to social expectations, including safety rules. 6 is social understanding. During the infant/toddler years, children begin to develop an understanding of the responses, communication, emotional expression, and actions of other people. This development includes infants' understanding of what to expect from others, how to engage in back and forth social interactions, and which social scripts are to be used for which social situations. 7 is effective empathy. The concept of this reflects the social nature of emotion as it links to the feelings of two or more people. Since human life is relationship-based, one vitally important function of empathy over the lifespan is to strengthen social bonds. Research has shown a correlation between empathy and pro-social behavior. 8 is self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is related to a sense of competency, which has been identified as a basic human need. Our need to feel competent and accomplished in life. The development of children's the children's sense of self-efficacy may be seen in play or exploratory behaviors when they act on an object to produce a result. And lastly, we have the sense of self. The sense of self is a way a person thinks about and views his or her own traits, beliefs, and purpose within the world. All right, thank you and goodbye.